Potatoes are a household staple, but they can spoil quickly. Here are 6 essential tips to help you preserve your potatoes and enjoy them for longer. Store your potatoes in a cool, dark place. Ideal temperatures are between 45 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit to prevent sprouting and spoilage. Avoid refrigerating potatoes. Cold temperatures convert starches into sugars, altering their flavor and texture. Instead, keep them in a pantry or cellar. Store potatoes in paper bags instead of plastic. Paper allows for better air circulation, reducing moisture buildup and preventing rot. Regularly check your potatoes for signs of spoilage, such as soft spots or a foul odor. Remove any spoiled potatoes to prevent them from affecting the rest. Keep potatoes away from onions. Onions release gases that can accelerate potato spoilage, so store them separately. For long-term storage, consider freezing potatoes. Blanch them first to preserve their texture and flavor before freezing. By following these tips, you can extend the shelf life of your potatoes, reduce food waste, and save money. Enjoy your potatoes for weeks or even months to come. Here are 6 tips to help you preserve your potatoes and keep them fresh for as long as possible. 1. Store them in a cool, dark place. Potatoes should be stored in a cool, dark place with a temperature between 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 7 to 10 degrees Celsius. This is the ideal temperature to keep potatoes fresh and prevent them from sprouting. It's important to note that storing potatoes in the fridge is not recommended. Choosing the right storage container. When selecting a storage container for your potatoes, it's important to opt for something that allows air to circulate. A well-ventilated basket, a burlap sack, or even a cardboard box with holes can provide the necessary airflow to keep potatoes from becoming damp and moldy. The importance of consistent temperatures. Fluctuations in temperature can be as damaging to your potatoes as the wrong temperature. It's important to find a storage spot that remains consistently cool without significant temperature swings, as these can lead to accelerated decay and sprouting. Avoiding condensation and humidity. Humidity and condensation can lead to the growth of mold and mildew on potatoes, shortening their shelf life. Ensure that your storage area is not only cool and dark, but also dry. If necessary, use a dehumidifier to maintain the right level of humidity. 2. Keep them away from light. Light can cause potatoes to turn green and develop a bitter taste. This is due to a chemical reaction that occurs when potatoes are exposed to light. If you keep potatoes in a visible spot in your kitchen, make sure to cover them with a cloth or store them in a dark-colored container. Understanding light-induced greening. The greening of potatoes is a visible sign that they have been exposed to too much light. This green color is an indication of chlorophyll buildup, which often accompanies the increase in solanine levels. Best practices for avoiding light. To minimize light exposure, store potatoes in opaque containers or drawers. If they are in a place that gets occasional light, consider using a thick towel or blanket to cover them. Another option is to place potatoes in brown paper bags that block out light effectively. Monitoring for signs of greengrocer. Regularly check your stored potatoes for any signs of greening. If they are starting to turn green, it may be necessary to move them to a darker location or use them promptly to prevent any further development of solanine. 3. Don't wash potatoes until you're ready to use them. Potatoes have a natural protective coating that helps them stay fresh. Washing them before storing can remove this coating and make them more susceptible to spoiling. It's best to only wash potatoes right before you're ready to use them. The protective layer of dirt. The thin layer of dirt on potatoes acts as a barrier against moisture and microorganisms. By keeping this layer intact until you're ready to cook, you maintain the potatoes' natural defenses. Only brush off any excess dirt that may lead to spoilage. Timing your wash. Plan to wash your potatoes as close to the cooking time as possible. This ensures that they are clean and free from contaminants without compromising their shelf life. Use cool, clean water and a soft brush if necessary to clean the skin. Dry potatoes are happy potatoes. If you wash your potatoes and don't plan to use them immediately, be sure to dry them thoroughly. Any residual moisture can promote bacterial growth and spoilage. Lay them out on a clean towel and pat them dry or let them air dry completely before storing. 4. Store potatoes separately. Potatoes should not be stored with other fruits or vegetables. This is because potatoes release a gas called ethylene as they ripen, which can cause other produce to spoil faster. It's best to store potatoes separately in a cool, dark place. Ethylene sensitivity in produce. Many fruits and vegetables are sensitive to ethylene, a natural ripening agent that can lead to over-ripening or spoilage. Apples, bananas, and tomatoes are particularly sensitive to ethylene and should be stored away from potatoes. The effects of cross-contamination. Storing potatoes with onions or garlic can also lead to flavor cross-contamination. While this won't spoil the potatoes, it can affect the taste of your dishes. Keeping potatoes isolated prevents unwanted flavors from permeating your spuds. Space and airflow between potatoes. To prevent the spread of rot or disease, it's important to not only store potatoes separately from other produce, but also to ensure they have space between them. This airflow can prevent the growth of mold and bacteria, extending the life of your potatoes. 5. Use paper bags or cardboard boxes. Plastic bags are not recommended for storing potatoes as they can trap moisture and cause the potatoes to rot. Instead, use paper bags or cardboard boxes to store your potatoes. These materials allow for air circulation, which helps keep potatoes fresh. The benefits of breathable materials. Paper bags and cardboard boxes are breathable, which means they allow moisture to escape. This prevents the buildup of condensation and keeps the potatoes dry, reducing the risk of rot. How to prepare bags and boxes for storage. Make sure your paper bags or cardboard boxes are clean and free from any previous produce residue. You can even line them with newspaper for added absorption of any excess moisture. Ensure there are openings or vents to facilitate good airflow. Avoiding light penetration in storage containers. While paper and cardboard are great for breathability, they also help block out light. Ensure that the bags or boxes you use are thick enough to prevent light from reaching the potatoes, as light can accelerate spoilage. 6. Avoid keeping potatoes in the fridge for too long. If you do decide to store potatoes in the fridge, make sure to use them within a week. After that, they may start to develop a sweet taste and become mushy. It's best to only store them in the fridge if you have no other option and plan to use them within a few days. Understanding the refrigeration process. When you store potatoes in the fridge, the cold temperature slows down their metabolic processes, which can be beneficial in the short term. However, the conversion of starch to sugar due to the cold can alter the potato's flavor and texture over time. Planning for short-term refrigeration. If you must refrigerate your potatoes, plan your meals so that you use them within a short period. This minimizes the time they spend in the fridge and reduces the risk of them developing off flavors or textures. Alternatives to refrigeration. If your home is too warm for ideal potato storage, consider other cool places such as a basement, garage, or even a root cellar. These locations can offer the cool, dark environment that potatoes need without the drawbacks of refrigeration. Bonus tip: freeze potatoes for long-term storage. Freezing potatoes is a great way to preserve them for an extended period. To freeze potatoes, first wash and peel them, then cut them into desired shapes, chunks, slices, etc. Blanch the potatoes in boiling water for 3-5 minutes, then immediately transfer them to an ice bath to stop the cooking process. Once cooled, pat them dry and store them in airtight freezer bags or containers. Frozen potatoes can last up to 12 months. Preparing potatoes for freezing. Proper preparation is key to successfully freezing potatoes. Blanching, which involves briefly boiling and then plunging the potatoes into cold water, not only cleanses the surface but also deactivates enzymes that can lead to spoilage. After blanching, thoroughly drying the potatoes ensures that ice crystals don't form, which can affect their texture when thawed. Best practices for storing frozen potatoes. When storing potatoes in the freezer, use high-quality, airtight containers or freezer bags to prevent freezer burn and flavor transfer. Using frozen potatoes. Frozen potatoes are versatile and can be used in a variety of dishes. They are perfect for soups, stews, and casseroles.